Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please join us today for Srimadbhagavatam class. Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari, Gopi Jana Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirye Shabdam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridayantastho Bhadrani Vidhunoti Suhasatam Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So today we'll be studying Srimadbhagavatam 10th Canto, Chapter 81. Lord Krishna blesses Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa. Hare Krishna. Please join us for the recitation of the verses. So we'll be covering the verses in Srimadbhagavatam 10th Canto, Chapter 81. The Lord blesses Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa. Shri Shuka Uvacha
Shri Shukuvacha
Sa Ittham Dujamukhyena
Saitam Dvijmukhena
Saha Sankathayan Harihi
Sarvasankathayan Hari
Sarva Bhuta Manobhigyaha
Sarvabhuta Manoabhigya
Samyamana Uvachatam
Samyamano Vachatam
Brahmarnyo Brahmanam Krishno
Brahmanyo Brahmanam Krishno
Bhagwan Prahasan Priyam
Bhagwan Prahasan Priyam
Premana Niriksheneva
Premana Nirikshanayana
Prekshan Khalo Satam Gatihi.
Prekshan Khalu Satam Gati
Please.
Shri Shukuvacha
Shri Shuka Uvacha
Saitham Dvijamukhena
Saitham Dvijamukhyena
Sasankathayan Hari
Sahasankathayan Harihi
Sarvabhuta Manoabhigya
Sarva Bhuto Manu Abhigyaha
Smayam Manas Uvachtam
Smanamana Uvachatam
Brahmanyo Brahmanam Krishno
Brahmarnyo Brahmanam Krishno
Bhagwan Prasan Priyam
Bhagavan Prahasan Priyam
Premana Nirikshanayana
Premana Nirikshane Neva
Prekshan Khalu Satam Gati
Prekshan Khalu Satam Gatihi. Shri Shuka Uvacha.
Shri Shukuvacha
Shri Shukdev Goswami said,
Shri Shukdev Goswami said
Saha,
Sir,
he,
he,
Itham,
Itam,
in this manner,
in this manner,
Dvija,
Dvija
of Brahmanas,
of Brahmanas,
Mukhyena,
Mukhena,
with the best,
with the best,
Saha,
Sir,
together, Sankathayan,
Sankathayan,
conversing,
conversing,
Harihi,
Hari,
Lord Hari,
Lord Hari,
Sarva,
Sarva,
of all, Bhuta,
Bhuta,
living entities,
living entities,
Manaha,
Mana,
the minds,
the mind,
Abhigyaha,
Abhigya,
who knows perfectly,
who knows perfectly,
Samyamanaha,
Samyamana,
smiling,
smiling,
Uvacha,
Uvacha,
said, Tam,
Tam,
to him, Brahmanyaha,
Brahmanya,
devotees to the Brahmanas,
do we devote it to the Brahmanas,
Brahmanam,
Brahmanam,
to the Brahman, Krishna,
Krishna,
Lord Krishna, Bhagwan,
Bhagwan,
the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
the Supreme Personality of God,
Prahasan,
Prahasan,
laughing, Priyam,
Priyam,
at his dear friend, Premana,
Premana,
lovingly, Nirikshana, with a glance, Eva, indeed, Prekshan,
Prekshan,
looking,
looking,
khalu,
khalu,
indeed,
indeed,
satam,
satam,
of the saintly devotees,
of the saintly devotees,
gatihi,
gati,
the goal.
the goal.
Translation by the disciples of His Divine Grace Sri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Shukdev Goswami said, Lord Hari, Krishna, perfectly knows the hearts of all living beings, and he is specially devoted to the Brahmanas. While the Supreme Lord, the goal of all saintly persons, conversed in this way with the best of the twice born, he laughed and spoke the following words to that dear friend of his, the Brahman Sudāmā, all the while smiling and looking upon him with affection. Purport. According to Srila Sridhar Swami, the words Sarva Bhuta Mano Abhigya indicate that since Lord Krishna knows the minds of everyone, he could tell at once that his friend Sudāmā had brought some flat rice for him and was ashamed to present it. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti's further explanation of this verse, Lord Krishna smiled at this moment, thinking, yes, I am going to make you show what you brought for me. His smile then turned to laughter as he thought, how long are you going to keep this precious gift hidden in your cloth? Krishna glanced toward the bundle hidden inside his friend's garment, telling Sudāmā by his loving glance, the veins showing through your emaciated skin and your ragged clothes astonish everyone present. But these symptoms of poverty will last only until tomorrow morning. Although Lord Krishna is Bhagwan, the supreme independent Lord, he is always pleased to reciprocate with those who are Priya, his cherished servants. As the indulgent patron of the Brahman class, he especially enjoys favoring Brahmanas who are additionally qualified by unconditional devotion to him. Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshitarine Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripa Tadham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So here, continuing from the previous chapter, Shukdev Goswami is narrating this pastime, and this pastime is something Parikshit Maharaj asked. He said, Parikshit Maharaj asked Shukdev Goswami to tell him another pastime of Lord Krishna which is full of valor, which is amazing. And now all of a sudden, Shukdev Goswami is telling about a Brahmana. So the valor here is the compassion Lord shows towards his friend and Brahmana Sudāmā, normally also known as Sudāmā Vipra generally. So here in the previous chapter, Sudāmā was a Brahman, poverty stricken, and we will come to know in this chapter why he was poverty stricken, why he did not have enough food to even have nice clothes. And so, and even for his wife, so he had a wonderful wife who would starve but make sure that whatever is available is first fed to her husband, only then she would eat. A very chaste wife. And then she could not see her husband in this poor condition, so she incited him to go and see Lord Krishna. And thinking that it would be very nice to see his childhood friend, he finally agreed. And so he has asked his wife to get some gift, something for gift. And she begged in other neighboring houses and collected 4 handfuls of chipped rice, right? The flattened chipped rice, we also call it poha. And she gave it to her husband, in a ragged cloth. She tied it because that's all they had. And so Sudāmā went to Dwarka, and he went with the other Brahmanas who were going, and Brahmanas were allowed to go in Dwarka. Otherwise, it was very difficult to get into Dwarka. Just like if you want to come to US, either you are born in US or you happen to have been very qualified, right? PhD holders and masters and so forth. So they are able to come to US. And similarly, so again, this is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. So Dwarka is Vaikuntha, where Lord Krishna and Goddess of Fortune, Rukmini Devi, reside. And here Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa is able to get in there, and he goes, of course asking, and then finally he goes into the first palace of 16,108 queens, and this happens to be the palace of Rukmini Devi. And as soon as Lord Krishna sees Sudāmā at the gate, he comes running and embraces him. And so Sudāmā is filled with transcendental ecstasy from that very moment. As he had even entered the Dwarka region, he was feeling Lord's glories being chanted, and everything was, very nice. He was already feeling ecstasy. And now that Lord Krishna has embraced him, he was, literally on the 7th cloud. He's really, he cannot even describe the ecstasy he's feeling. And Lord Krishna brings him and then, makes him sit on the bedstead of Queen Rukmini, on her bed. And then he brings various kind of food stuff. And it's not that he just says that eat this. He feeds his friend from his own hands. So that has also been explained. So how to love Krishna is being explained by Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa's approach, as how he was so submissive and constantly devoted to Lord Krishna. And we learn is how to love Krishna. And that only love gives satisfaction to our heart. And he is saying this reciprocation from Krishna. So Krishna is reciprocating his love, by treating him as his brother, as his real brother, and embracing him, and even feeling transcendental bliss. He is the reservoir of all pleasures, and he is feeling pleasure by embracing his friend, Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa. So Lord Krishna experiences satisfaction to his heart. What to talk about us, who are minuscule, so what would happen to our heart when he is reciprocating? And Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa is also feeling that love reciprocated by Krishna. And Lord Krishna feeds him lovingly with his own hands. And then he worships Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa. So he worships because first he's treating as he's a brother who has come to meet a brother. That's how he's feeling towards his friend, a class time friend. So back from his school time, Sandipani Muni's ashram, they were together as students and they were classmates. And now Lord Krishna is saying that he's a Brahmana, he's the best of the twice-born Brahmanas. So he's worshipping Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa. And when he's worshipping Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa is feeling how he is, lighting up various fragrant incenses, and then with the rays of lamps, he's worshipping Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa. And he washes Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa's feet. And then he sprinkles his water on his forehead and on his queen and others. So that is like he purifies the whole universe, yet at the same time, he regards Brahmanas so highly. So here, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur actually reveals an amazing fact in the 39th verse, where Lord Krishna accepts Brahmanas as his masters. So Brahmanas are said to be the spiritual masters of the human race, human society. Yet Lord Krishna himself is regarding Brahmanas as his masters, and the Brahmanas are his deities. Whose deities? Lord Krishna's deities. And even though he is the Lord of all sacrifices, he performs sacrifices to worship Brahmanas. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is expressing that Lord, he is so much devoted. Namo Brahmanaya Devaya Go Brahmanaya Hitaya Cha Jagad Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So yes, he is worshipped by the Brahmanas. ones who are situated in Brahman. Yet he is Para-Brahman. He is Pavitram Paramam Bhuvam. So again, he is above, beyond Brahman. He is the cause of Brahman. And those who are situated in Brahman, those Brahmanas who are his devotees, especially Vaishnava Brahmanas, we also hear about the different kind of Brahmanas that there are. Yet at the same time understand that the Vaishnava Brahmanas, even Lord worships them. And Lord is the destroyer of distress. And he is the only shelter of pure devotees. So the pure devotees, because of the purity of engaging in devotional service, they come to the level of a Brahmana, a Vaishnava Brahman. So this is a very important aspect, that you don't have to be born in a Brahman family. Just by engaging in devotional service, following the 4 regulative principles, chanting the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, we can rise to that level of purity to be situated in Brahman and become Brahmanas. So we all have equal opportunity, right? So we talk about equal opportunity employers at work. So Lord is also an equal opportunity giver. He is a beneficiary. He is providing us this amazing facility in the human form of life, where anyone in the human form of life has this opportunity, everyone has this opportunity to rise to the level of Brahmana and become a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava is considered even greater than Brahmana, because a Vaishnava is automatically Brahmana. He is already situated in Brahman. He is never lamenting about the past. He is not aspiring for the future. He is constantly situated in the present moment, engaging every moment in Lord's devotional service. And so is happy, is experiencing transcendental bliss. And similarly, Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa, he is feeling so nice as Lord Krishna is holding his hand and talking about his childhood pastimes when both of them were in school, right? Sandipani Muni's ashram. So Sandipani Muni, he had a wife who had once sent them to the forest to collect the wood for the fire so that she can cook the food. And they got lost, 2 of them. And it was dark night, a devastating night, that they could not find the direction. Of course, Lord Krishna wanted to have this pastime with his friend, who was his pure devotee. And so they stayed together all night and holding hand in hand. So one lesson we'll learn is that our love is reflected in our actions. And our actions show that we are constantly supporting each other, especially in the time of distress. Today is such a strange time in this Kali age. Everyone is ready to quarrel. It's an age of hypocrisy and quarrel. So people who are not very intelligent, they are lazy by nature, very unlucky, and they are constantly disturbed. So in such state, people don't realize that just by taking shelter of love, just by supporting each other, we can attain amazing feats. Yet at the same time, people are more driven by hate. People are more driven by discrimination. People are more driven by... And this is where we hear so many times. The news which is provoking hate, just news that is giving, that is what is selling. And that is such an unfortunate state. While what we are hankering is not hatred, what we are hankering for is love. We are not hankering for hatred. It actually creates more disturbance and brings us down in our life. It makes us feel unsatisfied. We are dissatisfied with such feeling. While here, Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa is feeling ecstasy. And here, Lord Krishna, in this chapter is where it picks up. He is holding his hands and he is smiling, making a glance to the cloth where he has this forearm full of chipped rice. And he is saying, did your wife send something for me, my dear friend? Is there something that you brought for me? Giving him an indication to share the amazing gift that he has. See, why is that chipped rice an amazing gift? Somebody could ask, why is it an amazing gift? Anybody could give chipped rice, right? Poha, it's so easy to, it's one of the cheapest items you get from the market. You can offer it to the Lord. But why is this amazing? Because Krishna cannot do anything close to what Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa has just done. Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa and his wife, they wanted to give him gift when they didn't have anything. Lord Krishna cannot be in that state because he is the supreme proprietor of all material and spiritual universes. On top of that, his wife went out begging in neighbors' homes asking for something for alms. And that's what she collected. Whatever she collected, all of it, she tied together. That is, like Krishna cannot go out begging because he owns everything. And even if he owns, everything is collected together to be given, it will never be equal to the gift Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa has brought because it's filled with that love and devotion. So Lord Krishna is, showing his amazing, loving glances with affection. He's holding hands of Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa and he's saying, my dear friend, have you brought something? He's hankering for the love. It is not the chipped rice that he is hankering for. It is the love of Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa. It is the devotion of his wife. It's the devotion of his friend who is a pure Brahman. That's what he's hankering. At the same time, Krishna is wondering that how come my friend is in this state? So that was the amazing thing. When Lord Krishna embraced his friends, he could see that all the veins on his body, they are visible. And he's very thin. He has gone very thin. And Acharya has explained why is that. That is, so again, when a devotee decides not to be attached to the material sense gratification, right, does not seek lusty pleasures of this material world, then there are two states one can take. One state is they become carefree, that I am not going to, worry about whatever comes by, Lord's mercy, by providence, I will accept it. And they just are satisfied with what is coming. And then the second category is like that of Jad Bharat. Even if something is coming, they would become adverse to it. And that is the state of Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa. He had become adverse to all those feelings. So, he had taken this step that even though Lord was providing and Lord is wondering, Lord Krishna is wondering, then I am omnipresent. He is present in everyone's heart as Super Soul. He is present even between the atoms. He is all pervading. Omnipresent personality. And he was wondering, how is it that this Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa is poor? And Acharyas explained that actually Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa should not have been poor. He had sufficient facility. He was one of the most exalted Brahmanas of that age. And he had sufficient facility being provided to him. Yet at the same time, he was adverse to the circumstances. So he was not accepting, even wealth coming, thinking that this would spoil. So there is a very nice example giving a husband and wife, they were on their way back to Godhead. And as they were walking on this path, sometimes Maya Devi even, and their spiritual progress of devotees, she tries to lure the devotees. So as the husband is walking, both sides of the road, there were amazing jewels. They are scattered and ornaments and gold and so many things are scattered. The husband was carefree. He was not even bothered about it. But the wife was adverse, saying that, this is... So for the husband, it did not make any difference whether it's a stone or it's a diamond. Diamond is basically nothing but a compressed form of coal, if you pay attention. But it is regarded highly because of its glittering functionality. So he was completely careless, carefree. But his wife, she was adverse. She was saying, oh, this is jewel. And what she was doing as she was walking, she was throwing soil to cover these, jewels and ornaments and gold and silver, various items that were all around on both sides of the road. So that is the adverse feeling. This is what, Jarbhara showed. He was provided the facility to learn Vedas, but he thought that it's an impediment in his path, so he ignored it. Any facility that came on his way by providence, if it was, for his material, if he was getting a wealth or something, he was adverse to it. His brothers, they asked him to take care of the farm so that he could have nice salary and he can sustain his life, but he said no. He would actually invite the birds to come in and eat as much as they wanted. So that's an amazing aspect because he was adverse. He did not want any material facility. Same was the state of Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa. And Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa, even though facilities were coming, he was adverse. He was, ignoring them. He was looking past them. This can also be explained with another example. A beautiful story is given in the Shastras where there is this pujari. He's in a temple, he's serving very nicely in the temple, and suddenly there is, prediction of floods. And the torrential rain starts. So at that time, some of the devotees, they come to the Brahmana. He said, "Oh Brahmana, please live with us because there's torrential rain." And Brahmana says, no. The deities, they will take care of me. God will take care of me. Don't worry. He will come and save me if there is any flood. And the devotees are saying, no, it has already risen above the flood line. The river is rising and we are going right now, so you should join us. He said, no, you guys go. And now suddenly the flood waters, it starts rising and starts flooding the temple. What happens, right, when things are, flooding the Brahmana, he's trying to climb outside the temple to keep himself, higher on dry grounds. And the water is rising. Suddenly he sees a boat. The boat has come and people are saying, "Oh Brahmana, we are collecting various people, so again, to save them, please come." He says, no, you go. God will come and save me. And at that time, Brahmana ignores it, and the boat people, they go and, trying to save other people. Then after some time, when he's at the peak, at the top of the temple where the chakra, of Lord Vishnu is being, the symbol is there, he's holding on to that top rod. And at that time, a helicopter comes and they say, "Oh Brahmana, please come with us, we'll save you." Brahmana says, no, God will come and save me. So the helicopter folks, they also go away. And finally, this Brahmana, he drowns. So again, there are two stories. In this particular story, he drowns and he goes back and he's complaining that, "Why did you not come to save me?" And God says, "Well, I actually sent devotees to you to save you before the flood could have come in. The flood line was already exited. Then I sent a boat and I sent a helicopter. I came so many times, but you did not come." So that is an adverse feeling. Sometimes, a devotee can have adverse feelings. So that is the mood of Brahman, Sudāmā, that he did not want any material benefits. So that's why he was putting himself in this poverty-stricken position. And with that, he was experiencing all those, he was feeling that he is not feeling any material pain. But we also have the responsibility that this body that we have been given, the human form of life, we have to regard it as a gift. And if you receive a precious gift from God, then it is your responsibility to take care of it. So Lord Krishna is wondering that he had this amazing gift, yet at the same time, why is he not? And he understands why it is not. So he says, I have to rectify this situation. So now he is asking Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa to give him the gift he has brought. Yet at the same time, looking at the opulence of Lord Krishna, Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa, he just hangs his head down because he is feeling, how can I give this dirty, petrified, means it's completely, impure, chipped rice to Krishna, who is such an opulent king of kings. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Sudāmā knows that his friend Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How can he offer such a lowly item to Lord Krishna? So he's feeling that. So Lord Krishna, he is in everyone's heart. He knows that Sudāmā did not come to ask for material benefit. He had no such desire. He only came because his wife requested him. His wife incited him. And why did his wife requested him to go and see Lord Krishna? Because she could not bear her husband in that state of hunger and poverty. She could bear it on herself, but she could not bear her husband to be in that state, knowing that her husband is such an amazing, such an exalted Brahman, such a wonderful soul, such a wonderful devotee of Lord Krishna, such a, personality should not have to suffer. And Lord Krishna, realizing that he only came because his wife asked him, so he is thinking that I am going to rectify this situation and this poverty of yours will only last till tomorrow morning. So he's also making that determination. So Lord Krishna, he loves us so much that he is waiting for our love. And he knows that Sudāmā is holding his love in that, cloth where he has this chipped rice. And so Lord Krishna, he goes ahead and takes that cloth and he opens it up. And what does he say? "Oh, my dear friend, I did not know that you have brought such palatable chipped rice for me." The flattened rice, poha, for me. And when he says that, Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa is struck with wonder. He's calling it palatable when it is dirty rice. It's collected but through begging from the neighboring houses. Yet at the same time, Lord Krishna, he picks up one morsel and eats it. And as he was about to take in the second morsel, the goddess of fortune, Queen Rukmini, she immediately touches Lord Krishna's hand and she says, "Oh my dear Lord, please, the first one morsel is enough to give all kind of opulences to this Brahman in this life and in the next life." Because Lord Krishna has said that this palatable chipped rice is enough to satisfy not just me, but the whole universe, all of the worlds. So again, that is the mood of Lord Krishna. And we know that Lord Krishna, he is the supreme proprietor. If he is satisfied, then everyone is satisfied. And Acharyas give very nice example of watering the root of a tree. So when we water the root of a tree, then automatically all the branches, the trunk, the leaves, the twigs, everything is nicely nourished. And similarly, another example is given is when we eat prasadam, that provides nourishment to the stomach, and from stomach it is distributed to all the limbs. And all the senses are rejuvenated, they are, energized. Another example given is when we pay our taxes annually, we give it to the tax department, IRS in the case of US, ITO in the case of India. And when you give that, then that money is distributed to different departments in the government so that the government can function. So three ways, three metaphors as we can understand how just by serving Lord Krishna, one can satisfy all the universes. And then in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna reveals that if one performs little service to me, then there is no diminution, there is no loss. Rather, Lord Krishna returns it millions of times greater to us. So even if somebody does as a trade, there is great benefit. What to talk of it? Somebody does with love and devotion. If somebody does it with love and devotion, Lord is so happy because he's not looking for things. What's the value for things? Everything is owned by Krishna. But what is the real value? It is our love. That's of real value. That feeling of gratitude, the feeling that of appreciation of Lord's mercy in our life, that everything we are getting, even this body we have received, is by the mercy of Lord Krishna. And that's why we want to use it with the right purpose. So, Goddess of Fortune is eager to serve Lord Vishnu. And so, she is constantly engaged in serving. Rukmini Devi, Queen Rukmini, who is none other than Goddess of Fortune, she is constantly serving Lord Krishna. And when she sees Lord Krishna embracing this Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa, she is now fanning Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa. And as she has stopped, but at the same time, she feels obliged to make sure that Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa's home is even better than that of Indradev, the king of the demigods. So this is again, it's revealed here by the Acharyas, and Shuddha Goswami is saying that Lord Krishna, when he gets the gift, when he takes the gift, so again, this is not his being given, rather he had to take it from his friend. Because it's the love in this gift that he is looking for. It's the feeling of devotion, it's the feeling of his gratitude and his affection for his classmate. That's been, this gift is endowed with, it's filled with, it's overflowing with. And so Lord Krishna, he thinks at this moment that I will give you the opulences that even the demigods, the king of the demigods, cannot dream of. So that is what Lord has even granted before accepting. While the yogis out there are waiting for Lord to grant them a wish, here Lord is granting before he has even accepted the love of his friend, of this Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa Vipra. So this Sudāmā Vipra is amazed, yet at the same time he is just letting go as the series of events are going. And he's feeling as if he is in Vaikuṇthas. When Shukdev Goswami says that, Srila Prabhupada says actually he is in Vaikuṇtha. Where there is Lord Krishna and the Goddess of Fortune, there is Vaikuṇtha. Rukmini Devi is none other than Goddess of Fortune. Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is Vaikuṇtha. And so Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa, he is very nicely taken care of. He takes nice bath, he is given very wonderful, place to rest, and he sleeps. And actually, in Padma Purana and other Puranas, it is given that Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa, he is so much touched by the love Lord Krishna has shown him, that all night, actually they all day, all the way to the late night, they were conversing with each other. And when he was sent to sleep, he couldn't sleep because he is feeling overwhelmed by the love that is shown by Lord Krishna. How Lord Krishna is reciprocating to the love he has for the Lordship. How he loves Krishna, Lord Krishna is showing manifold, millions and millions of times more love in his actions, in his glances, his affection he has for his friend. He's treating him like his brother. And it is elaborated that next morning when Lord Krishna, he's, sometimes when you have a dear friend come to your home, you take them, right, as they are ready to leave. You go, and sometimes you spend more time at the doorstep when they are going to get in their car just before that than they have spent inside the house. So Lord Krishna, he is conversing with him. He is nicely fed again, his friend, in the morning. And after that, after performing the daily routines, he goes all the way to the gates, the outer gate of Dwarka, with his friend, hoping that he would say what he wants. Yes, Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa, he is not asking for anything. He is just happy that Lord Krishna treated him so nicely. So he had this thought that it would be very nice to see his childhood friend Krishna, and he is overwhelmed with love for Krishna at this moment. And as Lord Krishna is asking him, giving all hints that is it something that you want, he knows that he has come on his wife's request. Yet at the same time, he wants his friend to say, and his friend is such a devoted, such a devout devotee, means again such an amazing devotee, such a strong devotee that he doesn't want. Rather, the only thing Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa asks is, how can I serve you? So when Krishna hears this, even he is overwhelmed with tears, means he's feeling this love that I'm asking this Brahman to ask for something, and what is he asking? How can I serve you? So this is a great example for us to understand when Lord asks us, then the only prayer, the most exalted prayer that we have available is, how can we serve him? A devotee wants to be the order supplier of Lord Krishna instead of using Krishna as his order supplier. Instead of asking Krishna, give me this, a house by the sea, a Mercedes car, a beautiful wife, very talented children, and lot of riches. Instead of asking of any of those things, the thing we should be asking is the most exalted thing. How can we serve Lord Krishna? That is the true reflection of our love. If you pay attention, even so again, when a young boy and young girl, they are in love, it is more like the boy wants to do things to make the girl happy. The girl wants to do things to make the boy happy. It's a relationship of giving. Then it comes close to the feeling of love. If the boy wants to take things, then it's lust. It is sense gratification. So here, when it is all dovetails towards Lord Krishna, then it is pure love. So a husband and wife, they think of each other as Vaishnava and Vaishnavis. That's how the mood of giving comes in, the mood of respect comes in, the mood of engagement in devotional service comes in congregation, right? You actually have a whole congregation within your each home. In each house there is a congregation. A family that prays together, stays together, grows together, loves together, and enjoys transcendental bliss together. That is the true essence. In this life as a human birth we have received is that all our exchanges should be made of considerations, should be made of collaboration, with free-flowing communication. Anytime anybody has a hard feeling, we owe it to ourselves, to our benefit, to make sure that those feelings are immediately removed. And also another thing, that in this current times, hate sells and love is ignored. We should change it around. Love should be welcomed and hate should be shunned immediately. Anything, because we should have so much love in our life that there is no room for hate. Hatredness is like, if you hate something, there's a very wonderful story that comes to my mind, where there is this great devotee. She is constantly worshipping Lord, right? And she is constantly worshipping God. And so her priest, he asks her, do you love God? She says, yes, I love God. And then the next question he asks is, do you love Satan? And she says, no, I do not love Satan. I do not hate Satan. Do you hate Satan? So the priest is surprised. He says, you love God? She says, yes, but you don't hate Satan. She says, no, I don't hate Satan. He says, how could that be? Her response is, when I'm loving God, I don't have any time to hate anyone. Forget about Satan. I'm just engaged in loving. So that should be our mood. Any negative thought should not even come to our mind. We should only be following the role models who are setting positive examples. It's very interesting that how Bollywood pictures pose an image while the very life of these actors is completely in the opposite direction. When Lord Krishna, when he comes, he poses just the opposite image. In Bollywood, the image is posed that, the hero is such a great role model and the heroine is such a great, devoted wife or beloved and so forth. But in actual life, these actors and actresses, they have miserable life outside. They're committing suicides, they're committing attempts to suicide, they are, having all kind of health issues, not just in Bollywood, in Hollywood as well. So many of those cases keep coming up, and that making different kind of arrangements to stay happy, but then they're marrying and then divorcing, and then they're having prenuptial agreements, and so many stories are there, innumerable. While in case of Lord Krishna's pastime, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He has amazing life. He is Atma Ram. He is fully self-satisfied. So in his personal life, if you see of God, he is fully satisfied. Yet at the same time, he comes as Lord Ram, right? So Lord Ram, the story was already written. Ramayana was already written by Valmiki before he came. So Lord Krishna is taking the role of Ramchandra in this pastime of Ramayana. And he's following this scripture, he's following the act so well that even the general public, we humans, we get bewildered. So sometimes they're thinking that Lord Ram is lamenting in such a way, not realizing that that's the glory of acting of Lord Krishna. He's such a wonderful actor that he's showing that he's lamenting for his wife in separation. While Lord Krishna, he's Atma Ram, he's never lamenting. But he's performing his pastime in such a wonderful way that he appears. So Bollywood, Hollywood, they just have the opposite image. While Lord Krishna is showing that he is such a wonderful actor in Ramayana, yet in his personal life, he's Atma Ram. He is the supreme proprietor of all material spiritual universes. He's filled with love and he's waiting for his devotees to show their love for him, for all he is doing, and continue to do that for our benefit. So now, Sudāmā Vipra, as he's walking back home, right, he has received one item in charity, a cow, from Lord Krishna. So that's given in the purport as well as in Padma Puran. It's very nicely described that he receives this cow, but at the same time, cow is not so much of a concern. He's just walking back home. And at that time, he is relishing every moment. He's remembering the Smarana Leela, right? Remembering Lord's name, form, activities, pastime is the topmost meditation. So he is meditating on this pastime as how Lord embraced me. And just by remembering that, his hair is standing, ecstatic symptoms are appearing, the tears are flowing. He's finding it hard to, even continue to walk, yet at the same time he is to return home. And he's walking, feeling this ecstatic, symptoms showing up, and he's feeling this ecstasy in his body and transcendental bliss. He's feeling the happiness, and his heart is overflowing with love for Lord Krishna, as how Lord Krishna embraced me like I am his brother, and how he made me sit on the bedstead of Rukmini, Queen Rukmini, who is his first queen. She is goddess of fortune, and she was fanning me with chamar, with a golden handle. So she was serving me And how Lord, He is the benefactor, He is the beneficiary of, well-wisher of all the Brahmanas. So seeing that I am a Brahman, even though I am such a poor Brahman, He did not care for it. He fed me with His own hands, He worshipped me. And He even accepted that chipped rice. So He is, with tears flowing, He is walking back. And He is thinking that it is very right that He did not give me anything. Why is He feeling that it is very right that Lord Krishna did not give him anything, any material opulence? Because he says that sometimes a poor person gets something, and then that caused them to fall down. And there are so many stories in the scriptures about such personalities, as how somebody gets little opulence and that gets to their head, and then that causes them to fall down. There is an example of Kartavirya Arjun. Kartavirya Arjun was, he receives 1,000 arms. So Sahastra Bahu Arjun was his another name. And he became so powerful that once he stopped the flow of Narmada river, and Ravan, he was, singing to please Lord Shiva. He had just set up on the bank of Yamuna, of Narmada, a nice shivling, and the Yamuna waters, it just overflew and just flooded it. So he got upset. So he challenged Kartavirya Arjun. Yet at the same time, Kartavirya Arjun defeated him. Yet at the same time, he was so puffed up. Of course, he let Ravan go when his grandfather said, you should let him go. There's also another story in Puranas where it said that Ravan was released by Parshuram on the instruction of Lord Shiva. So again, Ravan is released, but Kartavirya Arjun, he became so puffed up because of the strength that he started feeling that he should get everything. So Jamdagni, when he went to ashram of Rishi Jamdagni, at that time he saw that Rishi has a Kamdhenu cow, right? And he said that I want that cow because I can feed my army and all that stuff. And that, this power and his ego went to his head, so much so that he even decided to, send his army and kill Jamdagni, and so many attempts were there. And it ended up being his destruction. Another example that comes is in the case of Narkasur. Bhaumasur was son of Bhumi Devi and Varahadev. His father was Varahadev, Lord Vishnu himself. Yet at the same time, because of being son of such an exalted personality, he became an asura, he became a demon. Another example is given in, like we covered, Manda and Dvida gorilla. Both of them were actually part of the Vanar Sena. They are the ministers of Sugriv's minister, and they went with Lord Ramchandra to Sri Lanka, and that's where they, fought and destroyed many asuras. Yet afterwards, when Sugriv took, Samadhi in Saryu along with Lord Ramchandra, they became the ministers. And then they became so puffed up, so proud of their position, that they had demonic association and they became demons as well. And we heard how Lord Balaram slays Dvida gorilla earlier. So this is what happens, and it is known, means again in material world as well. Today's times, many times we hear that somebody won a lottery of millions of dollars. So the person has overnight become very rich. And then soon, within a year or so, they become more poverty-stricken than they were before, because they could not manage, they did not have the ability. So Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa is thinking, it is very right that Lord did not give me any wealth, because sometimes when a poor person gets the wealth, it causes the poor person to fall down. And on top of that, not just the fall down, it takes away all the peace of mind. Instead of something that should be used to engage in peace, it can take away peace if we use it in our service, in enjoying in this material world. Rather, if we dovetail it in Lord's service, that's where Lakshmi is most happy. She is Chanchala by nature. So if we want to enjoy Lakshmi, if we want to enjoy fortune, the wealth, and any of the other facility that we get in our sense gratification, for our enjoyment, in a lusty mood, then of course we will be more unhappy. It will create a bigger void, more darkness, more gloominess, more distress for us. Rather, the best use is to use it in Lord's service, because even small effort in Lord's service has multitude returns, and it purifies us immensely. So here, Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa is thinking in this manner that it is very right that he did not give. So that's also, because he was so adverse to anything that was coming as a opulence, any wealth that was coming, he was very adverse to that thought. So this is what he's feeling. And then he is relishing as how Lord, he regards Brahmanas so nicely. And so Acharyas have already explained that Lord even worships Brahmanas. It is said that when the fire sacrifices are performed, then oblations in the fire sacrifices are not regarded as high as when the Brahmanas are fed, because in the stomach there is this fire of digestion, and when the Brahmanas eat something, so if you serve Brahmanas nicely, they eat something, the digestive fire in their stomach, that burns that food. And that is more relishable to the Lord. He accepts that offering much, much higher than oblations in the fire, an offering in the fire, doing fire sacrifices. So many places Brahmanas are glorified. And one of the blessings that this chapter has is very amazing. It shows us that Lord Krishna is the destroyer of distresses, yet at the same time he is a well-wisher of Brahmanas. So one who hears this Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa's story as how Lord Krishna had this loving exchange and later on helped him even overcome the shortcoming he had. Now what is the shortcoming? What is it that this Brahman has that is going to be taken away from him? Not given to him, but rather taken away from him for his benefit. That is going to be discussed. So once we understand that, in essence, we study that and we practice in our life with love, with gratitude, then we can rise to the level of Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa and we can go back home, back to Godhead. Yet at the same time, it's the purification that we are seeking. So Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa, thinking in this manner, as he reaches his home, what does he see? That he used to live in a jungle. His house was set up in a jungle. He just had a straw hut where he and his wife lived with some of the Brahmanas scattered in that jungle. So all of a sudden he's saying that there's no jungle. Actually, there are wonderful palaces at great distances, and intermediately he sees that there are beautiful parks, very nicely decorated parks, and they are very nice looking people. They are like wandering in this park, and this park is very nicely arranged with ponds and fountains, and there are lotuses in the ponds, and there are colorful birds. They are in the ponds, as they are flying, and beautiful sound is coming. You see, when there are a lot of birds early morning, you hear the birds, especially in times like this, we hear so many birds chirping in the morning. So it is such a nice, pleasant, sattvic mode of goodness atmosphere. And he's amazed. He's thinking, is this the right place? Have I come to the right place? And then what he sees is that there's a group of people, they're coming with playing musical instruments, smiling and glowing, and they are singing, wonderful glories of the Lordship, and they're coming and they're welcoming him. So he's really surprised, because he's like, who are these people? Have I come to the wrong place? So there's a very nice story. There was this man. He was a drunkard. So every time he would go home, he would go late, hoping that his wife would go to sleep. But his wife was very upset, because every time he would, come, every day he would earn money, but then he would go thinking that, he wants to enjoy. So this is what the senses do sometimes to people. So before even sharing with his wife and his children, he would go to a, club or place, and he would drink liquor, and he would be completely intoxicated. He would come home, and in anger, when he would enter, his wife would have a stick or a chimta in her hand, and she would beat him up. Then, why did you do this? And he would just, shout back, and he would fight, and then he would, beat her up. He would beat the children, and then go to sleep. And then next morning, the same cycle repeats. This is the way he was living. So once she went to, asking for help, and her friend said, let's go to the sadhu, this nice sage is visiting here. Let's go and visit him. So she goes to the sage, and he poses her situation. The sage says, when he comes home, instead of, maybe it is happening because he's not finding the happiness in the house, right? So that's why he's looking outside. So you should make it very nice when he comes home today. You should make such a wonderful experience for him that he would not think of drinking. So, you should make, you should dress up very nicely. She used to, not even care about her dressing morning or evening. She was so busy in taking care of things. She had no time. So he said, you should dress very nicely. When he comes home, you should welcome him with a smile. You should give him nice prasadam, after offering it to the deities. And you should fan him while he is eating and ask him all wonderful things and say things that he likes to hear. And try this and let me know. So she says, okay, I will try this. She's inspired. She's charged up. She's like, yes, whatever happens, even though he beats me up and all that stuff, I want to try this because this is a solution given. And then in the evening when he came completely intoxicated as a drunkard, he entered the house, and what does he see? His wife, she opened the door and she's very nicely dressed and she's smiling, and she invites him. So he's a bit confused, what's going on? And then she brings nice palatable food stuff in front of him and picks up a fan and starts fanning him. He says, please, my dear master, my dear husband, my lord, please sit and have food. And he immediately runs out of the house, thinking, I must have entered someone else's house. So again, this is where he could not take it, that his wife is treating him so nicely. So sometimes we also have to understand that people are getting into the bad company. People are doing bad things because they're missing it where they should be getting it. They're missing it in their very homes. And that's why even in these times where we are not allowed to go out, COVID-19 pandemic is somehow lifting, but it's actually causing more spikes because people are becoming impatient. They don't have happiness at home. So they are trying to step out, and they are stepping out to cause further danger for themselves and the family, because COVID-19 hasn't gone yet. And here we saw, like last weekend, there was a spike of 18% higher rates of COVID-19 cases happened just because weekend people could not contain themselves, and even the government departments, they said we are going to phase 2. Well, phase 2 is another set of COVID-19 attacks. Basically, they were thinking COVID-19 is going down. It was going down because people were, constraining themselves in the home environment. And it is very important for us to keep harmony at home, to have loving exchanges at home, to treat everyone nicely with, loving, tender care. And so we have to enable that atmosphere, enable that environment, so that there's no need to even go out looking for happiness. Rather, happiness is in devotional service. So when we try to serve Lord Krishna, who's Govinda, so our senses are automatically, they feel pacified and they are full of bliss. So Govinda means, Go is senses, Vinda means who gives pleasure. So Govinda means who gives pleasure to the senses. And it is not in taking the pleasure, it is rather in giving pleasure to the Lordship, by serving him nicely, by chanting his name wonderfully, by raising our hands and calling out for him, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So here, it is only love and giving, the mood of giving, that will give satisfaction to our heart. And this is what, as Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa, he is giving his love even while coming back. And then he is surprised. All these people are coming, singing my glories. And when his wife came to know that my husband has returned, she came hastily to him. And when she was brought in front of him, she came to him to see him. He is surprised to see that his wife is looking so beautiful. She is very nicely dressed. But previously we heard as how she had become very thin, and all her, the glow of her face had vanished. Just like in the case of Devahuti, who was serving her husband Kadamba Muni so nicely. And who was Devahuti? She was the daughter of Manu, Swayambhuva Manu. He is the administrator of the universe. And his daughter was serving Kadamba Muni with such devotion, with such love, with such gratitude, with such dedication as a chaste wife, that she did not care as her body had become so weak. So just like that, Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa's wife, her body had become very weak. She was not even eating sufficiently to sustain her life. She was more focused on whatever was there, she would first cook it and give it to Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa. And when whatever was left over as remnants, that's what she would eat. And now he's seeing a complete makeover because she's looking so beautiful, bedecked with ornaments and jewelry and all that, but her makeover of her face and her limbs are so nicely glowing as she's appearing like a goddess of fortune. So that is the mood. What has happened overnight? That it is a complete makeover, not of his home, but of his wife. Just like in the case of Kadamba Muni, when he was very happy, when all his sacrifices, meditation was successful, he asks his wife, Devahuti, what do you want? And she expresses that she would like to have some one-on-one time, like husband and wife time. So at that time, Kadamba Muni asked her to enter the lake. And in the lake, she found many ladies who dress and gives her a makeover. And when she comes out, she's just like when she was, married. So she had that glow. Similarly, Sudāmā, Brahman's wife, she has the same glow as when they were married, and her youth and everything has been recovered. And Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa is also feeling a lot of energy because he was very nicely taken care by Lord Krishna. So when she brings him to his quarters, what does he see? He sees that it has been converted into a palace. And the beds, it's as soft as lotus flowers, lotus petals. And it is as white as the foam, the bubble, like the cover of a bubble. So like white snow, everything is so nicely. And there are big sitting places in the quarters. They have big canopies lined up with pearls. And there are charmers hanging, the yaktas hanging with golden handles, just like the one Rukmini Devi was using to fan him when he had come to meet Lord Krishna in her bedroom when Lord Krishna was worshipping Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa. So he is amazed. And at that time he is thinking that Lord Krishna is so merciful. He understands everyone's heart. And Srila Prabhupada in his Purport in Krishna book, he writes that for neophyte who cannot handle the wealth, so Lord's main concern is to make sure that we don't fall down. That is his main concern. He wants us to come closer, not go away. If we fall down, we fall away from Lordship. He wants us to rise in love, not fall in love. So by giving him love, we rise in love. Our love levitates. So just like His Holiness Bhakti Tirth Maharaj says, pray until something happens. We further say, pray until love levitates. Until we start rising in love. So that is the mood of love. In lust you fall, but in love you rise. So that is the mood we need to have, that we want to rise in love. And he's feeling that how Lord is so merciful. And Srila Prabhupada is explaining in this purport that, if somebody would fall down, then Lord would not give them. Rather, he would take away their wealth because it could be the cause of their fall down. Yet at the same time, when the devotee matures enough, he is so much filled with love that Lord feels that, yes, now this is a state, he can sustain himself. Lord gives him immense wealth, immense opulences, immense fortune. And so much so because now the devotee has this feeling and has this stability, where they can engage everything in Lord Krishna's service. So there is a very nice incident where Srila Prabhupada was shown a picture of a yogi who was offered great wealth on a platter, and he was holding his hands back, that I have nothing to do. But he was adverse to the wealth. Srila Prabhupada said, bring all this platter, all that wealth in front of me, and I'll go like this. Why? Because I will use every single penny in the service of Lord Krishna, in spreading Krishna consciousness around the globe, in making sure that people understand this transcendental knowledge. And they chant, because chanting of the holy name is a transcendental sound vibration. It is not of this material world. And it is a prayer to Mother Hara. Who is Mother Hara? Radharani. We are calling out to our Mother Hara. We are calling out to Radharani. What is our prayer? That please engage me in service of Lord Krishna and yourself. Where Ram and Krishna. These are the two words in this particular prayer. And Ram, as we said, and Krishna, they are Vishnu Tattva, so they're non-different. And we are asking through our mother to serve our father, Lord Krishna. And it is a very simple process which invokes love in our heart. And it is done simply by raising our hands and chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So there is simple slogan, chant and be happy. So you can just chant as a family. And if you feel that the other family members are not engaging with you in chanting the holy name, in engaging with you in devotional service, then all you need to do is pray for them. Pray for them to Srimati Radharani. Pray for them to Lord Krishna. And for that, the prayer is also very simple. Just chant the holy name on their behalf. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So just by taking to this simple process, you don't have to go outside and buy anything. You don't have to go onto the computer to search for things. It's simply picking up your japmala and start chanting with love. Every word that we chant, we're making an offering of jasmine flowers at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. And every bead of these 108 beads is like a gopi. So we are visiting 108 dhams, 108 holy places, just by being situated at one place. But we are, holding their feet in our hands and chanting that please help us purify and help us levitate. Let the love in our heart levitate us to be engaged in devotional service of Lord Shri Krishna. So here Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa, he is amazingly touched. So his attitude is that he had no envy, he had no lust before when he was poverty stricken, and even after when he received all this wealth. And he used everything with his wife in serving the devotees, in serving and helping the humanity and engaging in devotional service. So by engaging in devotional service, by making offerings to Lord Krishna, of your love, of your devotion, with gratitude, with humility, is watering the root of a tree, where everyone, everyone in the universe is satisfied. And so this is where they were able to engage, and in short time it is said that they were able to go back home, back to Godhead, to the spiritual realm. Later on, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa comes again. Lord Chaitanya is none other than Radha Krishna together, right? Under Krishna, Bahar Radha. Outside is the complexion of Radharani, Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, the golden complexion, the molten golden complexion of Radharani. And inside it is Krishna with the mood of Radharani. So he is appearing as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And at that time, Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa comes again as Shuklābhara Brahmachari. And he is collecting from 10-12 houses. We covered that story yesterday. An offering of love. That Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, putting his hand in his bag and taking out the chipped rice, and he is eating that chipped rice and saying this is nectarian, because he is feeling the love of Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa. Now interestingly, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does this, Goddess of Fortune cannot stop, because she is Radharani, right? Radharani is covering, and she is in Madhurya Bhav. Goddess of Fortune is in Aishwarya Bhav. So here she is looking more for this love. So the mother is encouraging father. So not just one handful, 2 handful, 3 handful. He would do it again and again. And Shuklābhara Brahmachari was part of his Sankirtan. He would go out for congregation chanting. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would lead that. And he was the initial attendant. So he was rejoicing, he was dancing when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go out on congregation chanting. And that is the chanting for the current ages. Kalatat Hari Kirtanat, Sankirtan Yajna, the glorification of Lordship. And this is what we do in Srimadbhagavatam. And as we see on this cover of this Srimadbhagavatam book, is how Lord is washing the feet of Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa, how he is worshipping the Brahman. So that has been explained very nicely. So the lesson we learned today is that we need to engage in devotional service because it is for our purification, and learn how to love Krishna. And that is, pray until something happens, and even to the next stage of pray until love levitates us. So that is the mood we should have. We should be, and it's not that we are just focusing on the deities, we should be focusing on all the associates that we have at our home. Everyone is a devotee. Some know it, some don't. So that is also an important aspect. And understand that it's only love that can give satisfaction to our hearts. We will be only satisfied when we will be happy and peaceful. And this happiness and peace comes as an effect. What is the cause? Devotional service. When we engage in devotional service, the effect is love. When we feel loved, then we've become peaceful. Then we feel that we are part of this big movement of Krishna consciousness, and how we are spiritually getting that stability and not being driven. So people who are watching movies and anytime they are engaging in all these Bollywood, Hollywood kind of activities, that's really pulling them down. And at the end, they become distasteful, they become grumpy, they have more void, and they are inviting hatredness in their heart. Rather, what we need to invite is love. Fill our hearts so much with love that there is no room for any hate. There is no room to dislike anything. That should be the mood of ours. Dear devotees, we need to make an effort. Yes. First, we have to train ourselves by engaging in devotional service. Then, automatically, the process is so potent that everything happens. An attitude of gratitude identifies the magnitude of your devotion. This is a very nicely, it's given as an example where in a family, husband, wife, they had two sons. Now one of the sons was always complaining and the other son was always happy. So they had different attitudes. So on one time, when there was this Diwali, they decided that we will bring such wonderful gifts that our sons, we will just change them around. They were with this thought. So they went to the market and all the great gifts that a child would dream of, they got all of them, right? And the mother got something for the second child. So they got all these gifts for the first child, who was always grumpy, was always complaining. They said he would be amazed when he sees these gifts. And then for the second son, they didn't get much, but they did get a box. So next, at night when it was time and all the kids, they were looking for these gifts. So the first one, they started opening the gift. What does he see? The first is a beautiful mountain bike. Okay. He's like, it's a mountain bike. I don't like to drive bicycles anyway. He puts it aside. He's like, what's next? It opens up the video game. Oh, video game. It's the latest edition. It's got these controllers and all that stuff. He's like, yeah, okay, I've got all these games. It's just another addition to my games, no biggie. Then he opens the third one. Oh, okay, this has some nice robotics functionality of some of the virtual stuff that you can, put like a camera and you can do virtual reality thing. It's like, yeah, that's not much fun as well. I have to put it on my face and then it will be like a belt on my head. I may get a headache. So he was opening one gift after another, and they were surprised to see that nothing was satisfying him. They were amazed, Miss. He's opening one gift after another, and the younger brother, he's looking at his elder brother, he's getting all these wonderful gifts. Wow, very nice, very nice, very nice. But he's just, he was just surprised that how his brother is rejecting things one after another. And the parents were surprised. And then he looked at his parents, what about me? So the mother points him to that box. There's this box for him. And so he opens up this box, the second brother. He opens up this box. What does he see? He sees horse poop in it. And he sees horse poop and he's delighted. He's delighted and he's jumping and he comes to his parents and holding a hand and he's like, where is the pony? Where is the pony? It's like, if there is horse poop, there must be a pony somewhere for me. So they are amazed looking at the attitude of this younger one who is happy to receive horse poop while the older one has all the amazing gifts a child could dream of. But he is miserable. So our attitude needs to change. We need to first make improvement in our approach, as how we see, what are the lenses, what kind of glasses are we putting on. That is an important aspect. Are we seeing everything with a happy mood, with a loving heart, or are we seeing everything with a hateful mood, with a disliking heart? That is where the major change needs to happen. Sometimes we see, people are saying, we need to do this, and also there's so many words we hear, like it's okay to be disgraceful towards the flag, but loot the stores, So where's your patriotism? So those kind of things are there, but always we have to understand where is the message of love and focus on that message. So again, every life matters. And for a devotee, for us, it is very important that we realize that everyone is important. Every living entity by nature is an eternal servant of Krishna. It's just that some are in forgetfulness. So those who are in forgetfulness, we need to just, help them. If they want to take on to this path, we need to enlighten them and let them at be, because Krishna does magic on his own. We just be an instrument, provide that knowledge, spread the message of love, and shun away any message of hate. So it's very important, because the responsibility is on our shoulder to love everyone and hate no one. So that should be the message that we should be taking today. And how Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa, in the mood of giving, he received manifold. And further, he got further opportunities to engage in Lord Krishna's pastimes. He was also an expansion of one of the Brahmana wives who had developed love of Godhead in Vrindavan Leela. So that was also there. So we covered that. Please, you can go back and listen to yesterday's previous lecture, previous discussion on this particular topic, as how Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa, what was he in his previous life, what he became in his next life, and so forth. Yet at the same time, he attained love of Godhead. He was able to meet the purpose of life, and that was only based on his mood of love, in his mood of devotion. And it's only love that gives satisfaction, not just to us, but also to Lord Krishna. He is hankering, he's Atmaram, yet he is hankering for our love, he's hankering for our devotion. That's what he wants. And that's what is the message of Srila Prabhupada and all the Acharyas, that we need to love Lord Krishna. So when we chant the holy name, it should be like offering of our love. Our heart should be like the soft butter, ready for him to come and steal it, because he is but a thief. And we want him to steal our heart. So we have to not be hard-hearted, but become soft-hearted, a loving-hearted personalities, so he can come and taste the sweet butter of our heart. This is where we end this chapter today. Thank you, dear devotees, for joining us today. And please join us for Nasimha Devati. Hare Krishna. नारायण महाराज की जय, श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, शिला प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna.